as a good planner and estimator, I want you to also have into consideration major factors affecting activity duration and when you estimate the activity duration. There are actually a lot of factors, and I just highlighted the main ones that you need to consider, which will go one by one here. First, space congestion. For example, sometimes the access in a particular location to forms or any other item in the project that you need to perform work in or at in that specific location may be difficult to enter or to access. As a result, the productivity of assembling these forms may be lower than the average or the normal for a particular project. So, adjustments based on the engineering judgment and the experience are needed to make more accurate calculations for the construction task duration. So this is the space congestion. Now for the learning curve. The learning curve, something I need to take a long time here to explain it in details because something very important when you do the estimation. As a crew becomes familiar with an activity and the work habits of the crew, their productivity will actually or typically improve. So let's draw a quick curve to show what I mean. So for a learning curve, assume this is the productivity and this is the time. So the learning curve would look like this, where you have this section relate to the learning phase and the section focused on the steady, let's write it here, steady state, let's say, phase. So this is the section where the crew will try to learn more and more about the job, so the productivity with time will start to increase more and more and more until we get it all learned, and then their productivity with time will be more steady. So this is what we mean by the learning curve. So understanding the learning curve that we just draw, I want to give you an example here in a construction example. So a common example is that the assembly of floors in a building might go faster at higher levels due to improved productivity, even though the transportation time to the upper floor would be longer. So that's something to consider. But again, to deal with this, historical records or subjective adjustments might be made to represent learning curve variations in average productivity. Let's go with a third point or factor, which is weather. The effect of weather sometimes can be random or sometimes can be more systematic. For example, you can get all of a sudden, let's say, a storm, a rainstorm, where your project is at in that location at any day. This is certainly a random event that will influence the productivity not only in one construction activity, but for a lot of your construction activities. But on the other hand, and this is a random, but on the other hand, the possibility of the same storm to happen in a specific month over another is more systematic. So there is kind of data you can work with. And as a good planner or estimator in this case, you can adjust the weather events based on some historical records you have in files. And this is very accessible to get and to integrate with your estimation, which will help more when estimating the activity durations. Another point is overtime, and this is tricky because actually overtime is not usually a good thing. Many research and many industry personnel showed that extended work days or weeks exceeding the standard 8 hours work day or the 40 hours work week actually lower work output and efficiency through actually the physical fatigue and poor mental attitude. So something to consider here. Another factor is design changes and rework. You get the job done, but you need to rechange some work because the owner didn't like it, or you started an activity and all of a sudden you get a design change and you want to restart or rework your task or activity. So these are examples of some factors affecting activity duration I want you to give attention to. Now, in sum, for all what we explained, I want to highlight also what a common sense for sources of construction delays that can cause for the entire project to get delayed. From, for example, the bad weather, which I explained an example how that be it. Change orders, which refers to the design changes or the rework from the client, sometimes become more delayed, or from the designer that need to do some work and you have more ideal workers to and equipments to stay await until that change order comes. Unanticipated site difficulties, which I would love to explain more on this. Usually we call it the unforeseen site condition. Means a physical condition encountered while you are performing the construction activity. However, that specific condition or that specific unforeseen condition was not visible and could not have been discovered by a reasonable site investigation at the time of bidding on your project. Some examples of such conditions would be an unanticipated groundwater, a quicksand. Some example that I faced myself is the type of rock formations, where while you are doing the excavation and all of a sudden you experience such an excessive quantities of rocks or a big huge rock that you want to deal with. So this is what we refer to as an anticipated site difficulties or the unforeseen site conditions. Another is equipment breakdowns that it will push to wait until you fix them, of course. Labor strikes or problems you need to address. address them before you continue with the project. Even late material deliveries that not in your hand, but you are waiting for your main materials to arrive. Or sometimes accidents, fires happens in the projects.